Hello out there in YouTube land. Today I'm looking at, where are you? This guy, the Feelworld F570, that one right here. Again, I'm on my GH5. I've got my newer lights set up, which I'll probably review later on. They're great budget lights. One up there, one over here. I'm in the middle. How are you going? My name's That Matty J Guy. Legally, that's my full name. Not really, it's a joke. Recently moved to Hollywood. I'm now living in LA. It's crazy stuff going on. I'm in my new studio, which is like 87.6% done. Maybe 87.7, depends who you talk to. This guy here. This is a full metal 5.7 inch on-camera monitor. It's wicked. It's super profesh. It's super budget. I think I got this for like 200 bucks Aussie. Figure that out in American dollars. I'm not entirely sure what that is. But for 200 bucks Australian, which is probably like 150 bucks American, you're not gonna get any better. Takes your Sony batteries on the back. I got a little baby one on here right now because I don't need it to last all day. Which if you put a big one on here, like I have in my lights right now, like a, what's in there? 750, have I got that right? If you whack like a 950 or a 970 in the back of this bad boy, you can shoot all day. You can just leave it turned on and it doesn't matter. We shot a music video right before we left Melbourne. What do we have? We had like a mid-range Sony battery in here. Lasted about 5 hours and I'm pretty sure it dropped down to 60%, which you get on the screen, which is lovely. It's a little percentage marker. Drops 20% at a time. What do I want to talk about? Like most of my reviews, I mean, if you want to know tech specs on this kind of stuff, you go here. Ta-da! Feelworld website. You want to know what it's capable of? Ta-da! Also, the Feelworld website. Right there. Everything. I just want to talk about the ergonomics of it, and the size, and the weight, and the build. And it's always the most important stuff. You know, these days, 50 million companies make the same thing. It's more about, will it survive in the field? If you drop it, is it gonna last? How does it perform after you've been using it non-stop for a week on a shoot? Does it keep going? Yeah, this sucker keeps going. I think in part, or the big part that plays you buying a screen like this is metal. Plastic designs. It's more, I've never dropped a monitor. I've never dropped a monitor before in my life, touch wood. It's not wood, I'm in a wooden room, that counts. If stuff falls on this, so if I've got this on the ground and a Pelican case, bam, cracks onto the side of this, it's not gonna break, it's metal. If I have a plastic screen, the housing's all plastic, and I drop something heavy on it, sucker's gonna break. I chuck this around, I'm not a, I'm a gear's a tool kind of guy, like, I'll let people use my gear, shift whatever, if it's a $10,000 camera, I don't care, people can move it. Gear's gear, people are people. Someone else handling this, compared to me handling this, why am I in any better situation to pick this up and shift it than Bob from next door? You know what I mean? On top, all your buttons, which is lovely. My old screen was a 7-inch, a little bit more expensive. Can't entirely remember what it was off the top of my head. Maybe it was the Andor S7, another budget screen. It was beautiful. Most of my shooting is quite run and gun, and because of that, I was whacking on a 7-inch monitor onto gimbals and onto my shoulder rig and all this kind of stuff. It's too big. It was just way too big. It was quite heavy. Putting on a bigger battery on the back made it super heavy, and I had it on this sort of articulating 4-way arm that can go all over the place, and the arm would loosen itself. The weight of the screen would actually make the arm come loose, and the screen would swing and smack me in the side of the face and all this kind of stuff. This little guy is perfect. The battery on that Andor could actually slip out, would never clip in properly, well, not without a bucket load of effort. This guy not only sits in effortlessly, it actually locks in, and there's a release button here. This battery can't come out until you press this release button. It's bright, it's plenty bright enough. If you go into the menu settings and crank the brightness up, it gets super bright. Unless you're rocking like an Atomos with 1000 nits brightness, all of these monitors, if you crank the brightness up and you're shooting outside in full daylight, they hit a maximum level of usefulness. No matter how bright they are, like unless you go dumb bright, like bullshit bright, you're fighting against the sun. Don't let nits put you off buying any monitor. There's a bit of a nit battle going on at the moment. Companies like push and pull their nit numbers because they know this is a state of monitors. This is where we're at. People just want max nitness. Nitness, is that a word? Nitness anonymy. I'm making up words. This goes dumb bright. It's a very, very sharp screen. It's 1900 by 1200. On that number changes a bit, which is a bit funny. Some say 1900 by 1080, some say 1900 by 12. Extra 20 in there, it's a bit weird. The two function buttons on top are awesome sauce. Again, to know what the screen does, it's all here on the website. It's got all the built-in little things you'd need. My F1 and F2 are set to focus peaking and false color. And when you bring up the false color, let's see if it does it. Yeah, GH5, so it's not gonna autofocus, but you actually get your false color chart here on the side, showing you exactly what you're seeing, what you need to read, which I think is fantastic. I've always got my center marker on. You can put your thirds grid on here, which I usually have on. I actually do have that turned on when I shoot. Rule of thirds, friggin' love it. People have been complaining about this little knobbly bit on the bottom. I think people, when they review this stuff, they always look for something to complain about. I think they put this in here because this bezel is so slim all the way around. To fit this screw housing into the body, if you see how close this HDMI and this charge port cable are to where the screw would have to go into the housing, there wasn't enough room. So they've obviously made a compromise to keep this screen really slim and to keep all the plugs nice and even across the bottom here. They had to put the housing externally. So you can see two screws on the back. It's like its own little nubby unit that sits on there, which I do need to tighten because it's coming loose. This is awesome. At the moment, I've got a Ronin S. I whacked the GH5 on that. I've got a side handle, and I sit this on that side handle. For those of you using a GH5 on the Ronin S, you know that when you plug in an external screen and try to use the Ronin follow focus wheel, the internal screen on the GH5 doesn't work. Happy days, isn't that annoying? So if you're gonna rely on one monitor, because my GH5 monitor doesn't work when this sucker's plugged in on a Ronin S, otherwise it works great. I mount this on top, directly on top of the camera. I have my battery grip going on the bottom of the Lumix. It's a beast. Rocking this and the internal screen, 2 batteries. I can shoot on the camera for like 5-6 hours, smashing it pretty good. I'm pretty safe. I turn it off and on between shots. It's such a good run and gun setup. I can't recommend this screen enough. It's fully metal, it's lightweight, the battery will never come out. That is dumb important when it comes to these screens because these battery terminals on the back can be really temperamental. That's the most important thing. Not the brightness, not things like peaking and false color, because they're all good. They all do that kind of stuff now. Things like this freaking battery, staying in, secure and safe if you're running and gunning, this guy wins. A nice sharp screen, this guy wins. It's the fact that it's a 5.7 inch and it's a full HD, it's just that pixel density makes this sucker like ping sharp. What else can I really say about it? If you're in the market for a small screen, even if you've got something big and really, really nice, and I mean the only competitor, you got all your small budget screens. and then you've got Small HD. Small HD wins because of their software. If you've ever used a Small HD, their menus and the way the software operates, it's just lush. It feels like a proper company. These feel like proper companies, but their menu system feels like the kid from next door made the menu system. Not in saying that it's clunky and it's hard to navigate. It's really easy. It's menu, 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 menu. It just reminds me of using like a 15-year-old PC. You jump on a Small HD, and it feels like a proper software company who have gone, hey, we've got a monitor, let's make some really nice, ergonomic, smooth, beautiful software. That's a big thing. And the brightness of Small HD. I think, don't kill me, I'm pretty sure the brightness on Small HD is 800 nits? Yeah. Well, this sucker is 460. Again, you do get a hood. Everyone gives you a hood. People have been complaining a little bit about this hood being made of plastic, which it is. It's plastic. It's bendable. It blocks out sunlight, and it weighs nothing. Why would you complain about having a plastic hood? If this hood's on and you drop shit on it, your hood's gonna break, but this will never break. But it's a hood. I have like viewed monitors with a tea towel over my head before to block out sun. Hood's a hood, man. Blocks out sun. It's got one job. Doesn't matter what it's made of, right? As long as it's not transparent, then it wouldn't be a very good hood. But this is definitely not transparent. It is solid and works, and it clips on very easily. Battery life is a big thing for this, actually. I mentioned it a bit quickly, but on my 7-inch Andoa, a small battery like this, the Andoa would chew it up. It'd destroy it. On a battery like this, I can shoot a full battery's worth of life on the GH5, and this will still be going. I reckon that's probably down to two things: the size of the screen being a 5.7 and the brightness, because it's not a dumb bright screen. It's still plenty bright. The battery survives. I mean, I've got my brightness cranked up to like 80. If I'm in full sun, I crank it up to 100 probably, which leads me to color. My Andoa was more accurate. Its color looked a lot more like what I was seeing on my GH5 display. And I output my LUT to whatever monitor I'm using, just so I know. This is a bit gooey. It's a little bit pop candy. The color, drop it down to 45. It comes from 50 from factory in the settings, 50 out of 100. Desaturate it to 45-ish. You do get temperature control on here. It's a little bit warm. I prefer a warm image than a cooler image. My preferred shooting style and finished product is always a warm looking image. My lights right now are set purely to warm. But it's not awful, not at all. You desaturate 5 or 6 clicks and it looks great. It's not a monitor I'm gonna go, yeah, that's exactly where my colors need to be, blah, blah, blah. It helps me get my frame. I just purely use this so I see more in my frame, because the GH5 screen's tiny. It gives me a clear screen. I like to have all my scopes and stuff up on my GH5 screen. I always want to see what's going on. I'll have false color on here sometimes. I have peaking on here almost all the time, peaking. But just having that secondary monitor, nice and clean from clutter, just to see a lot better what your final image is going to be like. You can't complain. For 200 bucks Australian, secondhand, these are floating out there. If you can get one for like 120 bucks American, secondhand, freaking get one. Even if you do have an Atomos or some crazy big screens that you monitor on set, this little guy, it's light enough that you can almost just like put it on your arm, get a little wireless receiver. I'm making it up now. I mean, you could, and just like have this little monitor going. It's just for a 5-inch sucker, have it in your bag. Could save you your ass one day on a shoot, you never know. That is the Feelworld. Is that a Ronin MX? I think it's probably an MX. It looks very small, unless they've made the screen look a lot bigger in that picture. It looks more square in that picture, so it's a lot more square. Great monitor, get one. It's robust, it's made of metal, it's 5.7 inches, which is a little bit bigger than your normal 5, which is lovely. It's plenty bright, it's super sharp. The colors are intense. You can dial them back a bit and make them look a lot more normal. I love it. Super cheap. That is my little get a Feelworld F570. F70 be a 0.7 inch monitor. It's like a smartwatch monitor. It's not a good idea. Feelworld F570. Get one. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Until then, until I find something else to review. Looking around me, seeing what I've got. I'll find something. I'll catch you then. See ya.